and all this around transforming assessments into learning tools. So the big question is why now? Why is this so relevant now? And that's because learning content is everywhere. It's in the classrooms, it's in the libraries, the books, now e-learning, course like Coursera with YouTube. So the content problem is solved, the food problem is solved. And now we're able to disseminate and break down that content with ChatGPT and other AIs alike. So we're able to have a two-way exchange with that content. But now it's no longer a food and breakdown problem. It's a absorption and assimilation. And that's something that we're really looking at. This is a challenge. How do we improve absorption of learning? How do we improve the critical thinking and application to real world of the theory, of the things we learn in school? So how do we really know how much they know and what they can do with that content? And that's where we're coming in. And that's what the big problem we're trying to solve. And that's why we're gathered here today. So some of the challenges that are contributing to that are challenges like overemphasis on grading. So traditional grading relies on pass-fail, single score outcomes, like a percentage score. And that doesn't really look at the deeper critical thinking and problem solving areas, right? So we can't really determine what the student knows. There's very limited measurement tools for measuring the higher order cognitive capabilities of students. So really looking at can they problem solve, can they create, can they analyze, right? And to then align those questions with each cognitive skill is a great challenge. So we end up unintentionally focusing on the lower order cognitive questions like memorization. Furthermore, to then measure the effectiveness, to measure the real world knowledge application. Then manual evaluation creates bottlenecks because it's very time consuming. Educators only have so much time. And then because of that, students get little to no feedback. And if they do, it's after they've done the exam, possibly weeks later, in the window where they're really focused and learning on that topic is no longer relevant. So because of the mismatched expectations and the skill gaps, then when they graduate, they're not necessarily ready for the actual real world application in employment. So based on all those challenges, we've come up with solutions and built this solution suite to address each of these challenges, anywhere from an end-to-end automation and digitization management of the examination process to each aspect of that, like competency-based question bank generation using AI to generate questions that align with specific cognitive capabilities, auto grading with rubrics and personalized feedback for handwritten, digital, essay, oral responses, particularly focused on coding, math, as those are areas that really benefit from that type of AI application. We also have project evaluation to seamlessly facilitate and manage the project-based learning, setting milestones, assigning different parameters, and then we have the learning outcome reports to streamline the whole reporting from the question to the course to the program, which helps with accreditation, also helps enhance and improve learning outcomes. Then we have campus recruitment preparations, so students can prepare with industry standard mock interview tests. And then we also have an app, so students can have a personalized math tutor at home to really help them understand and improve their math solutions. Additionally to that, we have corporate applications, because the learning doesn't just stop at the school. It also happens in the corporations and learning development and hiring assessments. So that's our solution suite. And to really support educators and institutions, we've launched these programs, the Educator Empowerment Program, as well as the Assessfy Faculty Workshop. These are really initiatives to provide hands-on training and free access to some of our Assessfy AI tools that are designed to really have an impact at the classroom level. The Educator Empowerment Program is for individuals, individual educators who are looking to explore these tools. And if there are institutions and departments that are looking, then we are willing to conduct either in-person or virtual workshops for whole faculties, departments, schools. And we'll be introducing this towards the end. So we will be sharing links. And for those individuals or institutions who are interested, we will be selecting a few for these programs based on a lottery system. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the esteemed panelists for today's discussion. We have Dr. Indrani, who is Professor of Education and CEO of Perak under the Ministry of Education. Welcome, Dr. Indrani. Good to have you. We have Ms. Deepa Bhushan, who's the Director of Schools at CP Goenka International School. Welcome. Good to have you. And we have Mr. Samir Arora, Principal of Shiv Nadar School. Additionally, we have Pervesh, who is my colleague, and he's the head of customer experience here at Assessfy, and he will later on show some of the AI in action so we can see real-world examples of what this looks like. And last but not least, Mr. Bhupesh Daharia, CEO of Aegis School Data Sciences and founder of Assessfy.
Hello, Professor Indrani. Hello, Deepaji, Vish, Eddie, and all the participants from across the world.
Hi.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay, just give me 1 second. Am I no longer sharing, Pravesh?
Yeah, you're not sharing.
Okay. Okay, so
Mr. Samir, if you're there, you can please switch on your video. Or yeah, Eddie, we can restart.
okay. I'm sorry. Just 1 second. Okay, so is Mr. Samir here? I haven't seen him.
Looks like he's not here. So let's start.
Okay. So to start us off, Dr. Indrani, I'm curious, how would you define the true purpose of assessment in education today?
Now that, with the latest AI in place, I would like to define assessment as not just assessing the performance of the students, but as an enabler of learning. And this is what we have been trying to implement in the states as well. If you see the assessment that has been in practice in India, we have borrowed it from the colonial regime, and that basically, is entirely focused, like you said, on the marks and the grading system. And this marks and grading systems are totally flawed. They say nothing about this. They, as a as a child, they don't tell me anything. As a teacher, they don't tell anything to the teacher and not to the parents. They are just good for the administrators for selection. That's the only thing that they are useful for. So it's time that we shroud them and keep it for burial. The National Education Policy 2020 that India has come out with, it talks about transforming the learning assessment, and only if the assessment is transformed would the quality of learning also improve. So when we are talking about transforming the learning assessment, the National Education Policy of 2020 of India talks about the first and foremost about the holistic assessment. It says that not just the cognitive assessment is important, but assessment of the personal, social, emotional domain is equally important. I need to understand whether the mental challenges faced by the child as well while learning. Similarly, the physical growth and development of the child needs to be assessed, and the other domain, the art and aesthetics, the sports. The next thing that it talks about is that we if we are talking about AI in assessment and learning, we cannot just keep the assessment as a paper pencil tool. We need to have different types of assessment. We need to have scenario based assessment, situational assessment, case studies, portfolios. All those needs to be weaved into. Third important thing that National Education Policy 2020 has defined the pedagogical stages. It talks about the foundational stage, the preparatory, the middle, and the secondary. Now, if the pedagogical stages have been defined, that means even the assessment needs to be aligned. So we need to have the grades, stage specific assessment. We need to have a separate assessment. If the pedagogy at the foundational is storytelling, the assessment should also be weaved in such a manner that the child is assessed using stories. So similarly, for the preparatory stage, if it is a playway learning, then the assessment also needs to be playway. For the middle, if it is experience and then experimental. So assessment also need to kind of follow these state specific protocols. The next thing that we talk about in assessment, for making it relevant, for making it appropriate to the child, is that it needs to be contextualized. And the first and foremost thing when I'm talking about contextualization is the language. I need to assess the child, especially at the foundation and the preparatory stages, that I need to assess the child in the language of the child. And also the examples, the activities needs to be there, kind of woven from the immediate environment of the child. Only then it will be meaningful, only then it will be relevant to the child. And all this we are trying to do in our holistic progress card, which Parak, the National Assessment Center, has developed for the different stages.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. I think Ms. Deepa, if you have anything to add to what Dr. Indrani said, feel free. But also, I wanted to ask you too, as someone with extensive school leadership and curriculum experience, what are you seeing now as some of the biggest challenges or limitations with some of the traditional assessment methods that we're trying to move away from?
Thank you, Eddie, and thank you very much for having me here on this panel today. Good afternoon to everyone. I think what Professor Indrani said has covered the complete holistic space of assessments, and as she's rightly mentioned, that assessment needs to look at every zone. I'd say in every zone, whether it is the language, the levels, how it needs to be administered, and every space needs to be looked at. And for that, I think rolling back to understand what is the core essence of assessment. Why assess? Is it for benchmarking? Is it for progress? Is it for growth of the learner? So what are we looking at, I think, is something extremely important for us to understand. So we've had this three-pronged approach, to assessment. One, which is the traditional format, which is testing. It's not assessing really, it's a kind of testing which happens maybe at the board level. So we say that, the kids are ready to move out of this space and into the next level. And this kind of becomes a benchmark to say, okay, this child can reach these minimum learning levels is how I see it. And that is what happens. But if we are looking at assessment in its true self, it is to ensure that every learner is able to see what they know, reflect on it, understand what I need to learn more, and then grow from there. So, that's what assessment means in its truest sense. And for that, the testing tool is not enough, which is why when we see, and Parak is doing that when they brought in the, holistic the report card, where they're looking at all elements of the child. It's not only one zone, but it's all elements of the child. And that's how we are able to kind of give the individualized support that each child needs. So, in my TEDx talk also, I have mentioned about this, where I say, I've been a bee. And I've always been that B. Why? Because that is the grade I got in art when I was in school. So if, I did my ECC ed, and in ECC ed, you need to make a lot of teaching aids. And if anyone asked me to make a teaching aid, I would always say, no, I can't draw. And I cannot color because I was that B always. I should always say, don't do it. It's like how when, if you're not good at maths, and if later on in life you're asked to do anything in maths and you've not got your grade earlier, you will always say, no, I can't do it. I am not good at math. Whereas you may be the best at finance and calculations and everything, but you always relate to that one grade you have got in life. And it's very difficult to overcome that grade. So once we start realizing what that grade is doing to a child or an individual, because it doesn't stay with you only in childhood, you are taking it across your life, right? You limit yourself. It becomes your limiting belief. So assessment cannot be your limiting belief. Is something that I very strongly believe in.
Yeah, that's powerful. And that I think resonates with certainly me and probably a lot of the listeners here. I really like that outlook about what assessments should really be, right? Should go beyond that single score outcome. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Dr. Indrani, I want to come back to you for a second. So outcome-based education is really it's no longer a philosophy, and it's becoming not just a Western phenomenon, it's a global mandate at this point. And in India, the government is pushing for measurable learning outcomes, as you said, and institutions are expected to align with the frameworks like Bloom's taxonomy or COPO mapping, right? So Dr. Indrani, as the leader of Parak and a key implementer of India's national education policy, you carry a tremendous responsibility of shaping how competency-based education reaches over 250 million students, which is something, quite frankly, I can't relate to at all. So I'm curious, what are some of the real challenges that you face in turning this ambitious vision into an actual classroom reality?
Yes, 250 million, a daunting number. But then I have a wonderful team, and Padak collaborates. It believes in collaboration. We have a lot of our partners. We have not just the government. We have the non-governmental organization, our other assessment partners who are, because just Padak cannot, bring out the change. Our SCRTs are there, the State Council of Educational Research and Training. So what we have a structure in the government to kind of reach out to the last child in the last school. We have a very organized structure right from the national level. But the main thing that I would like to focus out here, that when Parak has developed these holistic progress card for the different stages of education, it's not just Parak. It is that we have taken the inputs from all the 36 states and UTs. It is a contribution that has come out from the ground. So, all the 36 states and UTs have contributed in the development of the holistic progress card, and these holistic progress cards have been on and off. There has been a lot of back and forth with them. Like, we went and piloted it in 700 and I think that time it was 18 districts. So we piloted it in all the districts of India, and we got the feedback from them in 5 schools from each districts, and only after that. So these holistic progress cards are something that is rooted in India, and it is totally aligned to the National Education Policy 2020, wherein we take into consideration the competencies. The competencies have been defined for the stages, different stages, that is for the foundational, for the preparatory, for the middle, and the secondary. And taking those competencies, I, as a teacher, how do I assess the child? The greatest challenge that we faced was, as a teacher, they are used to the assessment that is given at the end of the textbook. So to change that mindset from those only, questions, to preparing your own questions, preparing your, designing an activity first, then preparing a rubric to assess. First is mapping the activity to understand the competency, which competencies I'm going to, competency I'm targeting, then preparing a rubric to understand where the child is functioning in that competency, whether the child is at the beginner level, at the proficient or advanced level, and finally, uh, uh, culling out all of them and describing actually what the child knows and can do. The workshops that we did with the states, with the private schools, many of the private schools also came forward, and we had a very good feedback from them, because we took great care in developing those, holistic progress card. It was not an overnight thing, and it was not just a one person show. So it was very well taken by the states, by the, even by the private organizers. But then again, like I said, teacher training is a challenge, and we are still struggling how we can kind of, fill that gap. Lots have been done, but to kind of, meet the demands of each and every one, it will take time.
Mm. Yeah, no, I would imagine so. Great. Well, Bhupesh, I want to ask you now, someone who designs learning platforms, what does it take for assessments to actually start driving learning, the kind of learning we're talking about from Dr. Indrani and Ms. Deepa, to kind of to reinforce, sorry, for learning rather than just evaluation, right, of the single score?
Thank you, Eddie. It's a really important question. So Dr. Indrani and Professor Deepa has already laid down the background. And as Dr. Indrani rightly said, that it is not only about identifying whether somebody will pass or fail, right? Or somebody is poor or good, right? And as Professor Deepa has also highlighted, that it is kind of a label which you carry on your head for your entire life, right? And which becomes a delimiting factor. Now, we need to really understand, other than the postmortem function which Assessfy do, which is summative assessment, which at the end of the day, universities and schools have to really award a degree, give them the certification. The assessment and test need to be used for hiring, right? So we can't really eliminate whether we hate it or we like it. But what is the other purpose of the assessment? So we need to really take a step back. What actually assessment does, right? Uh, so far, whatever we have reached in the humanity in last 10,000 years or 7,000 years, we have reached to this level because uh, are you able to hear my voice properly, or is there some noise? Are
There's
you
a
not?
little static, but I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So let me speak loudly. So we need to take a step back. So far, the human civilization has reached to this point not because of we were intelligent, because we actually ask the right question, right? So imagine the son of a caveman asked the question to father that why we are living in the cave, right? And from where there we actually reach to this level. Otherwise, all of us we would have been in a cave, and we could not really carry this discussion, right? Coming back, when you really ask a question, what happens to your brain? The moment I ask a question, right, who is the father of Akbar? Your billions of neurons actually triggers in your brain, right? And they try to retrieve the information where the answer of Akbar's father lies in which pocket and try to retrieve. And once and two neurons try to really connect. It is like a switching on a circuit, right? You switch on the button and the light lights up, right? So that part of your brain lights up. I'm telling it not to simplify the concept, not it doesn't happen exactly in literal way, but it forms a neural pathway, right? It tries to retrieve the information. More you do, your recall and reinforcement actually works. So whether it is written or whether it is oral, or as a teacher, you stand up with students in the class and you ask them the questions, right? In any form of question answer actually aids to the learning. Without assessment and without asking the right question, it does not really happen. What India government and what the world today is trying to really do, not only ask the rote learning based question, which is who was the father of Akbar. Imagine if you really flip this question, if Ashoka would have been the father of Akbar, what would have been the impact on India's current scenario, right? Now here the teacher fails and the student fails because it requires higher level of cognitive capability. It is not just neurons is trying to retrieve the information from short-term memory and long-term memory. It has to really get into the different pockets where the knowledge is lying and try to retrieve the information and synthesize the right answer and give it to you. But more activity you do, you actually develop the higher cognitive capability, right? So rote learning, anyway, the traditional education system has been doing for ages. And the time is that we need to really make our billions of students across the world, which are 1.2 billion, we need to really free them from this rote learning model. And anyway, in the onslaught of this AI agents and robots, which are going to really spam this whole world, the so-called knowledge, which is basically information, is of no value, right? I'm trying to be very harsh, right? But that is the reality. For everything, you have the ChatGPT or Gemini, very reliable knowledge infrastructure. Now, if humanity has to really survive, the humanity need to really build a higher cognitive capability, and that cannot happen only by good teaching or content, which is on YouTube or a classroom or learning management system. That can only happen good quality of question. So my guru, Dr. Gango Upadhyay, says a teacher is not known by how good he teaches. The teacher is known by what kind of quality of question he asks, right? And that is the fundamental thing. Whether it is a K-12, whether it is a higher education, whether it is corporate, everywhere assessment plays a role, right? And as Dr. Indrani said, that yes, student need to really get hands-on, practical, application-based education, not just rote learning. So assessment is everywhere. It is the foundation for the human civilization. It is foundation for the learning, and the learning in particularly the way it happens in education is structured way. This is the foundation.
Mm. So the focus needs to be on more of like the type of questions we're asking that really promote neural activity and synaptic connection and all that, which is going to enhance the higher order cognitive capabilities.
Yes.
Okay, that's so. Piggybacking on what Bhupesh said, Ms. Deepa, how can you, how can continuous low-stake assessments be used to sort of reinforce some of these concepts, promote the higher order cognitive capabilities, and promote mastery at the school level?
So I think one of the things that we all know of is that assessment drives instruction. So it's the type of assessment questions that are there roll back to the kind of teaching that happens within the classroom. And which is why when you look at the various boards in India, internationally also, you will see that, they have blueprints for their examination papers, which clearly state, which level in the Bloom's taxonomy are they looking at, for the questions, what percentage of questions need to be there, and, how many really need to be in the higher order. And this varies across countries, across boards, across states also. This varies. Based on that, you will see teaching happening in the classrooms. Based on that, you will see training happening for teachers to teach in the classrooms and assess. So I think it's extremely important for us to understand that first, we need to set that structure in place. And here I am, because assessment actually goes across so many zones. It's not only the content or the curriculum or the syllabus that we have for the disciplines or the subjects that we're looking at, but assessment is about the whole individual, right? It's about the whole child. We no longer look at it only in that academic context, in a sense, for a child. So if you're looking at all spaces, we must identify that how can the assessment take place and what is the kind of structure, what is the higher order thinking skill that we want, and to what extent do we want it? Yeah. So that's when we're able to mark out the teaching, the good questions like Bhupesh spoke about, and then the teaching that will happen in the classroom to lead to those questions or the higher order thinking skills.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Back to you, Dr. Indrani. So I want to talk about personalized feedback now in these adaptive assessments that we're speaking of. So how can personalized feedback help create sort of a nurturing learning environment and ensure that when you're dealing with so many students at scale, like how every student gets the support they need to succeed? And how can personalized feedback play into that?
Personalized adaptive learning using AI is a wonderful thing, and I look at it, the participation of AI as along with the child, along with the teacher, like they can co-create and they can, collaborate yeah, in a manner. So it's the AI is there, the teacher is there, and the child is there. So but one thing, we have to be very particular is about the codes that goes into the AI. We have to understand, because while coding also, it should not be just technology people out there, but it should be educator out there, the content specialist should be there, so that whatever comes out of that thing, whenever I give a prompt, even how I give a prompt is also very important. So after I give a prompt, the output that I get, it has to be something that is meaningful, and that can be only understood if the teacher is sitting along with the child and the AI. And we have the generative AI right now, so we can improve upon the output as well. So we can give it a prompt again and tell that AI to give a more refined answer. The main thing in personalized adaptive learning is that when I, as a child, I am, faltering at one particular concept or construct. So the AI can kind of generate resources for me. It can be visual resource, it can be audio resource, it could be something that I actively participate in. And then using those resources, I can improve upon it. And then again, an assessment can be given to me to see whether I have actually understood those constructs, and then proceed further. So AI has a lot of potential in personalized adaptive learning. These models, we have started thinking about it. We are developing something at NCERT as well for all the grades. My only concern in this is that it should not be a translation of the textbooks in a digital platform. We have to be very careful about that. It has to be something that how it needs to be different, using, and it needs to use all the good things that are there in the digital platform. And for that can happen only when there is a marrying between technology and educators, all of them set together and develop. It should not be developed in isolation. Another thing that, like I keep saying, is that inclusivity and equity, these are the two things we should never, as educators, lose track of. Whatever we are doing, whatever we are generating, it has to be inclusive. I cannot leave, a autistic child or a ADHD child behind. I need to give have something for everybody when I'm developing these adaptive learning. It's not just, again, what happens in a traditional classroom, that I, as a teacher, I only target to the average child, and actually there's nobody called the average child who exists in the classroom. So definitely it does not work. So it has to be something that is inclusive. Equity needs to be there, and lot of thinking needs to go behind for developing those algorithms. Without proper thinking, just by looking at the content and developing something in a hurry, I think we should not do that. We should never do that.
I totally agreed. We should never sacrifice equity and inclusiveness when we're designing these AIs for giving feedback to children who are, at all different levels and skill sets, right? Ms. Deepa, with your child at the center approach, how are you conducting these assessments? How are you using AI, or at least foresee your school using AI to provide personalized feedback and ensure that it's meeting all the standards of your approach?
So before reaching AI in assessments, we actually started with technology, in a sense of, understanding how could we bring in technology into assessments. And I think the COVID time really helped us to think of assessment in a different manner, where we would be able to give ownership of the learning process and the assessment to the students. We started thinking of it in that manner because we said, if it's only bringing out the information that they know, what are we looking at as development of skills? How do we monitor the whole process to see that the assessment that's happening is authentic? So when we started going through this whole process, I said, why not let children showcase their learning? So we started off with very small spaces, and we said, okay, whatever concepts the children learned, they had to explain them and record themselves and send across the videos to the teachers. And, this was the first step really for us as an organization to see how we could build in just, I would not say technology into the assessment, but really in showcasing the assessment in a sense. And that was our first step in this space. And we saw children did it beautifully, because when children explain, I think they learn better, and they also are more sure of what they want to say, and it's in their own words and their understanding. So we were actually getting authentic assessments happening in this space. And then from there, this gave us a lot of confidence to move forward, that we should try in different tools, for individualized assessment. And AI supports that space a lot. But like Professor Indrani mentioned, it is extremely important that these are not a replica of the textbooks, but this is like a combination of the content, the teachers, the pedagogical, approaches that are being taken in the classroom. Like I mentioned earlier, assessment drives instruction. So if we want to see the authentic assessment, we need to ensure that all these are in place with the AI tools that we want to use. Currently, in our classrooms, there are subject-wise tools that the teachers are using. So whether they're doing virtual lab experiments and the children are showcasing their lab skills using certain AI tools, that's allowed. Whether they want to create, so asking good questions. So instead of children actually solving number problems, always we ask them to create number problems for themselves, and maybe AI could solve it for them and tell them, whether their question was good enough or not. So these are very small ways, when they read a passage, you make your own good questions out of it, and also questions that make you think. So they may not understand that these are the higher order thinking skills in their own terminologies, but you're also looking at metacognition coming through. We're thinking about thinking, like, if I'm thinking like this, what does it mean? How can I make my thinking better? All these elements are integrated into the assessment process, and you see it reflected through the academic year. So it's not only that during the examination time assessment is going to happen. No, it's happening throughout the year, through the daily work that they do, and we call it tool-based assessment within our schools. So even during the daily work that the children do, they are being assessed in that space to say, okay, I'm at this point of my own learning, and from this space I'm either going up or I need to work on certain areas. So it's very individualized in that sense. And I think AI tools can really help the students to grow if done in the right manner.
Thank you. Great. Yeah. To piggyback on what Professor Indrani and Ms. Deepa are saying, Bhupesh, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, and also to take it another step further, as someone who has experience leveraging AI at Aegis School of Data Sciences, and then also kind of what challenges you might have encountered with that, and if you can sort of shed light for the other educators listening, what they might anticipate as far as challenges go when integrating AI into assessments or learning environments.
Thank you, Adi. So, Professor Deepa, like, I really love this experimentation which you're doing. The ability you're giving them task to really create the question by reading the comprehension. That's really amazing stuff, right? Because we as a humanity, not only the children, we need to really learn how to ask the good questions, quality questions, right? Answers ChatGPT can really give, but we need to form the question so that ChatGPT can really answer. Really give a big hand to you. This is wonderful experimentation which you're doing, and I will borrow this and integrate into our teaching and learning. Coming back to ages, so I teach machine learning and deep learning, and deep learning actually gave me a lot of insight that how human brain functions. And they actually functions in similar way. The way machine learns and human learns, not exactly same, but similar fashion. Now, going back to the challenges, what challenges we are facing, Eddie, we actually run a program called postgraduate program in data science and business analytics and AI. And we have to really maintain the track of like 100% employability, right? And it has to be very much application based, right? And essentially it needs that you can't really just teach them the Bloom's level, below C level, right? Which is BL1, BL2, or BL3. You have to really move them into up hierarchy, which is analysis, evaluation, and creation. Then only they have some prospect about the job. Uh, right. So how do we really do that? So if you have to really give them a lot of application based assignments, you have to really have a lot of TAs, right? So let's example, if you go to the Birmingham University, a senior professor who's teaching machine learning, he'll have at least 10 to 15 TAs, right? And the normal education institutions can't really afford, and each TA will charge roughly around $50 per hour, right? That's the kind of cost that they will have. And they have to really evaluate every assignment, every project based on the rubrics and give the feedback, right? And typically in Indian culture, we don't give the written feedback. We can really give the preaching hours and hours for half an hour. I can really give feedback to the student. It may not be very objective, right? So how do we really maintain the cost? Because even at our school, like our director, Dr. Kulkarni, when he teaches, he has around 40 As. These 40 As are like four teachers roaming in the class and helping each student on the code and other stuff. Now, we then implemented the AI, right? And for last 1.5 years, I'm not evaluating my assignments, right? Of course, you can't really automate everything, but project you have to really evaluate. But routine assignment, let's example, code-based assignment, or anything where you give them the assignment, okay, write the script to really detect the facial recognition or those kind of stuff. The AI is fairly able to really do within a short period of time. So traditionally, what happens, like you give the assignment and then the faculty manually evaluate, give the feedback after 4 days or 5 days or after a week. By the time the relevance of the feedback actually lost. So as a human being, how do we really learn? You ask me the question, I'm immediately responding you. And perhaps that is also helping my learning, and I'm receiving the feedback from everybody. That's how human being really learns, with two-way communication. Assessment has to be two-way communication. If two-way communication need to happen, most of the assessment, not for everything, the real life feedback need to be done, right? And that's the reason teachers actually ask questions inside the class, right? And that's the most effective way. But due to logistical reasons, right, you have 60 students or 100 students, faculty can't really give the real life feedback on those 5 page or 10 page assignments. And that's where I think this artificial intelligence can really play a huge role. And there is nothing artificial in that, right? So I have a huge objection about artificial. So this is basically aggregation of the human intelligence. So whatever the ChatGPT or Gemini is saying is basically read our books, read our codes, right? And the literature, everything what humans have created. This is the outcome of the natural intelligence, and it has really aggregated or mugged it up and right got its own intelligence. It's seemingly intelligence, right? But it is able to really evaluate, give the feedback, and all those kind of stuff. So for routine assignment, routine learning improvement, it is a very effective tool which I have been personally using in my class very effectively, and saw extremely good results. So that I'm not overburdened. So I'm working extra time to really learn new technologies myself, right? Try to really simplify lessons because these AI concepts are extremely complicated, right? So you have code, you have mathematics, and all those stuff. So rather than those routine assignments, I'm able to really devote more stuff time over there. And that the time additionally which is available in my hand, I can really give them identify the right kind of capstone project, which could be the application based. And if they really solve those problems, perhaps their employability will really increase. They will be able to be much better for the real world, right? So that's my small take on how AI can really help in application and making them industry ready or perhaps application based stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So staying on the topic of sort of implementing AI and actually using it, Dr. Indrani You're faced with such a mass amount of faculty and students that you said training is a big part of the issue, probably getting the buy-in. So especially when it comes to building trust and training educators and ensuring AI becomes a tool for empowerment, right, rather than just automation in education. What is your viewpoint on that and your thoughts?
Regarding using AI in the training, teacher training.
No, getting the if you're going to implement AI at scale like that, you need the faculty, you need the teachers, the administrators, them to be able to adopt it, right? And they need to be bought in, they need to trust. So like when it comes to building trust and training the educators, you know, how do you ensure that AI becomes a tool for empowerment rather than just automation in education?
Yeah, it has to be a kind of a focused manner, and we need to develop a template. How do we go about standardize that template? Because, like I keep saying that. Even if slightly we go wrong, then it affects a huge number of people, and it can, entirely change the direction in which we want the things to go. Instead of actually improving the system, it can, be harm the system as well. So we have to tread very, very carefully. Uh, in when I'm talking about using AI for the teachers, another thing is that at present, if you see the way the teachers are learning, it's the way all of us have learned to use the mobile phone. It's by trial and error, and that is what is happening for the use of AI also, with the chat GPT and everything in place. And but then there I see a concern out there, because if this generative AI is not understood well, if it is not actually understand that yes, it can create something that can be really dangerous, which is maybe is not good, that aspect also need to be told, and it has to be conveyed. I, as a user of AI, I need to understand that it's a tool that I have, and a tool which can be used in a positive manner, and it can also be used to do something that may not be all that good. So I this understanding about the artificial intelligence needs to go. So I feel that um, the tools are there, a lot of are available, even open source, lot of things are available for the teachers, but and the students. But then how to go about using it in an ethical manner, I think that needs to be really talked about. Ethics in AI is something that I am always, propagating and talking about.
Mm. So it needs to, it's beyond just, you know, before we simply pass on tools that work really well, we need to take a step back and really shed light on what
We
they
don't,
are.
yeah, sorry, we don't need to pass them out also, because they already have it.
Right,
Yeah.
We have it. So my concern is that before they start using it arbitrarily, then we need to have a set of people, people like Bhupeshji, people like Deepa Bhushan, you yourself. So, people need to go and speak to them and tell them that, that this is the way you need to kind of use, and if this is done, it would not be proper.
Yes.
So, the do's and don'ts also needs to be conveyed very effectively. And
Mm,
now, like, everybody has the tools.
yes. Yeah, and this idea of using it as an assistant or a co-pilot, so you're still in the driver's seat, and this is there to sort of help, not to just automate it and do it for you, is also another, I think, big aspect of it. Ms. Deepa, this is the last question before we go to the next section. As a someone who's immersed in the daily K-12 leadership, how do you sort of foresee the implementation of AI, and then also how you can use that to reduce faculty workload, and still enhance the learning outcomes in the higher order thinking that we talked about?
So first of all, Eddie, we'd like to understand how it would reduce the workload is a space, because then, the moment everyone hears that terminology, everyone's ready to use it indiscriminately. And, that kind of is something that I have seen across the years. So I like to kind of just create a balance in that whole space by saying, yes, we will use AI, we will use technology, but we will also use some traditional methods which have worked well, and we go basis that. So we kind of balance that whole system and that structure out. So if I can give a simple example, when we take notes, yeah, I am still, even after all the chat GPT that I refer to, or Google that I refer to, and, I get my stuff done very fast on that. I still, in every meeting, and I'm doing it right now also, as everyone is talking, I am making my notes, and I do like to make my notes in that diary. So what happens is, we all know, and research is stating that, the kind of neural connections that are made and the cognitive inputs that move into long-term learning, that happen when we make notes,
Right.
is much higher for us than when we use AI. Yeah. So AI is the aggregation of human intelligence, and I really like that. And so if we give away our human intelligence and we don't build on it, we won't have anything to aggregate further.
Very true. Very true.
So, which is why that balance has to be maintained for us to understand how we want to use AI. And like Professor Indrani very rightly said, the ethics of AI, and to what level. And to what level do we need to look at the development of intelligence? I think that balance is extremely important for children, and I'd say all stakeholders in education, whether it is the students, whether it is the parents, whether it is the facilitators, the teachers, the leadership, as well as policymakers, for everybody. This balance is an extremely important aspect that we need to refer to. Yes, by bringing in AI, we are providing children individualized learning. We're providing them the individualized, progress. We are giving them ownership of their learning. We need to do that, but we can't just leave it at that. There has to be a good blend of human facilitation as well as artificial intelligence, if we may say so. And we need to have a good blend of creation of intelligence and aggregation of intelligence. So I think if you look at that box, if you're able to place everything together well, I think AI then works in all forms for everyone.
Wonderfully put. Thank you for that. So
Thank you.
let's move to the next section. So we've talked about assessments, learning in assessments, the future of assessments with AI, how they could be transformed from a measuring tool to a powerful learning tool in leveraging AI in that. But we also know that the vision only matters if it's actionable. So that's why, as I mentioned before, to truly support educators and institutions in bringing this transformation to life, Assessfy has launched two exciting initiatives. The Educator Empowerment Program for individual educators who want to explore and apply AI tools designed specifically for teaching, grading, competency-based question generation, learning impact. And we'll provide free access to some tools, training and support to a selected group. And we also have the other program, Assessfy's faculty workshop for schools and departments. We'll be conducting exclusive workshops, either in person or virtually. And that will give the faculty real hands-on experience with AI tools to, again, like create cognitive aligned questions, to automate grading in Copilot mode, to provide personalized feedback with actionable insights, and then measure and report on learning outcomes. So both opportunities are open, and we'll be inviting interested educators and institutions to fill out a simple form. If you check the chat, we will share the link. And again, a few will be selected through a lottery system to receive full access and support to these tools. Before we get there, let me show you what this actually looks like in action. So Pravesh, over to you. Can you walk us through some of the tools and how they come together in a real teaching environment?
Sure. Thanks. Thank you, Eddie. So again, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Purvesh. I work as a customer head for Assessfy. So let me walk you through the actual platform where how this platform is very helpful for the educators, for the students, and how it is going to empower them for their day-to-day life. So let me quickly share the screen and start with the presentation. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, Purvesh.
Thank you, sir. So let's quickly move. So this is a 3-point agenda that I'm going to have for today's presentation, where we'll show you how you can use this platform to generate a AI powered competency question bank for your assessments. Then the second point is how the main topic of the today's webinar, how we are turning using the platform to turn the assessment into the active learning tool with the help of automated personalized feedback. And finally, some reports which will empower the teachers, the faculties to really measure and do the learning interventions after the assessments are done. So let me quickly start here. So this is the first piece of a demo that I would like to show, where this is enabling the teachers to generate the AI powered question bank for their assessments. So here, this is a prerequisite for generating the questions. So you need to select the type of question that you're looking for which category the questions you want to create. For example, multiple choice question, subjective, bachelor's, master's. Then you need to select the course. Okay. You can select the topic, for which topic you particularly want to generate the questions. If you have a subtopic, you can select that. Now the difficulty part: easy, moderate, difficult. Now you can select a number of questions as well. And finally, you click on generate. So here, this platform is empowering the teachers to generate more and more number of questions, basically, so that they can provide more and more number of assessments as well, because the questions they have already generated, they are already exposed to the students for of the previous years. So here you can regenerate similar kind of questions to create more and new number of assessments. So here, please have a look at this. So once the question is generated, you can have a look at the question. And if you wish to do any modification, do any changes, you can simply edit the question. And if you want to remove the question, you can delete the question as well. Now, here comes the very important part. Question generation is a very easy task. Okay. Now, to map that questions with the learning outcome that you want to achieve after the assessment is a very difficult. So for example, for this particular example, we are using a Bloom's taxonomy structure. Basically, this can be used by your own learning outcome structure as well. But for this particular example, I'm using Bloom's taxonomy. So here you can just select this question and just click on generate CLO, and it will start mapping this question with which category of Bloom's framework it is supporting. Correct. So have a look at this. So as you can see on the screen, it has mapped the first question with BL3, which is the application basically. And as you can see it, after the mapping, it is also providing a short explanation. It is also providing an explanation. Just a minute. Please have a look at this. So basically, this is not a black box. This is providing, so for wherever we have used AI basically in the platform, it provides an explanation why this is happening, why this is mapping with this question, how this feedback is generated, how this evaluation is done. So for each step, we have provided this explanation. So you can have a look at this, you can read these. So once as a teacher, you provide this particular reports or particular questions in the front of the committee. So basically, you will have an expression for that as well. We'll move further. As you can see, the question second was mapped with BL2. And again, with that, it is providing an explanation here as well. And now it has the capability of creating different type of questions for multiple choice, coding, essay questions. Let's move to the next section. Okay, so now this is the next screen, as you can see on the screen. So now I have just shown you how you can generate the questions with the help of AI and map that questions with the course learning outcome that you're going to use. Even you can use this platform to map your own the existing question repository. If you have, you can just simply upload that question repository on the platform and start mapping the questions with the with your course learning outcome. So these are the questions that I'm just showing on the screen. These are uploaded. These are not AI generated. These are uploaded by the teachers. And here you can see it has provided the mapping as well in the right side. Let's move to the next part. Yeah. So once you're ready with your question repository, you're ready for generating the assessment. So here is an interface where it allows you to select which kind of assessment you are going to create. So it supports multiple type of assessment, which is multiple quiz, which is descriptive questions, coding, oral assessments. It also has a project-based learning assessment as well. So here in mixed assessment, you can have the combination of all the different type of assessment like oral, descriptive, coding. Yeah, this is the interface where you create the assessment in a 3-step description about the assessment, question, and finally adding the participants. Yeah, here comes the important part. Okay, where once the assessment is created, okay, now as a teacher you would like to see a preview whether this assessment is balanced or not. Balance in the terms of course learning outcome that you want to achieve after that assessment. So here, once you create the assessment, you can see a preview of that assessment. Okay, so let's quickly see it. And in the preview, you get to know that whether each question is mapped with the exact course learning outcome that I want to achieve after the assessment. The choice question, and there are some coding questions as well. So as you can see, for multiple choice questions, the CLO or the course learning outcome that is matched is it in the series of CLO1 to CLO2, correct? Because the multiple choice questions, they generally help to capture the only 2 level of assessment, that is the remembering and the understanding. If you want to go beyond that, if you want to map the course learning outcome beyond that, you need to have questions like descriptive, case study, coding, oral, correct? So here, as you can see in this example, the questions are mapped with questions are mapped with CLO1 and CLO2 for multiple choice. And if I more scroll down, there are few coding questions as well, where you are able to see that those questions are mapped with more than that, CLO3, CLO4. Yes. So there are a few questions for multiple choice. Yeah, so now there are a few questions. These are the coding, and you can see this is a CLO3 kind of questions. So basically, ultimately, at the end of each learning and assessment, student need to acquire higher cognitive capabilities, correct? And here, as a teacher, you are really, you can see that the assessment that you're going through or you're taking for the students is well balanced with well balanced learning outcome, correct? So we'll go to the next part from here. So once you're done with the assessment, now it comes the most important part where we really justify the title of the webinar, that turning assessment into the learning, where between after the evaluations are done of these assessments, how this platform is helping the students to learn after this. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at here. So this is an handwritten assessment for math equation kind of examples. And I would like to highlight a point here. Now, this is a very difficult challenge that we have come up through and we have solved, where the platform is able to do the OCR or a handwritten digital or equation kind of problems. To do the OCR for a simple text questions and answer, it is very easy. But to do it for equation kind of answers, it is very difficult problem that we have solved. Now, as you can see, this is the sample answer sheet submitted by the student. Okay, and this is an uh, equation kind of problem. Now, once it is uploaded by the student on the platform, the platform does the evaluation onto it. So to start the evaluation, what it will do, it will see what rubrics has been uploaded for this question. So as you can see on the right top, just click, and this is the rubrics. Rubric is basically the evaluation criteria that as a teacher you put for each question or for each assessment that we're going to go. So this is a multiple level of rubrics, basically. So sorry for that. Yeah, so this is a multiple level of rubrics that is been applied for this particular assessment, as you can see. And this helps the AI to basically read and do the evaluation. So once it starts the evaluation, what it will do first, it will transcript this particular answer sheet into, it will do a OCR onto it. It will convert that into a digital format. Okay, and then it starts the evaluation. To do the evaluation, it will use the rubrics, and after the evaluation, it will provide a step-by-step analysis where it highlights the correct and incorrect point or part of the assessment. Okay, and for each correct point, it will give a plus points. For each incorrect point, it will provide a feedback, it will provide a hint. So basically, as you can see, it is very helpful for the students to get such kind of feedback, such kind of step-by-step analysis. And once this analysis is completed, it is providing a summative feedback or the overall feedback for the assessment, whether how, if there any scope of improvement required, what is the explanation providing by the platform. So here it is very important to understand that these students are, after each assessment that they're going to, within few minutes they're getting this analysis of the assessment, where it provides a detailed feedback and it provides the evaluation grades as well. Yeah, and on the top you can see we're using each rubrics what grades the student has achieved. So this question was for 10 marks and the student has achieved 7.7. And this is the complete AI evaluation. There is no human intervention into this. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, so the same problem can be evaluated in a manual mode as well. Okay, in the manual mode, there is no AI involved. So as a teacher, you can see the answer sheet. Okay, you can scroll the answer sheet. You can see the rubrics that you have used. Okay, and you're completely in a manual mode here. You can just scroll down and see the submitted answer sheet of the students. Correct. And finally, you can just simply provide the grades. So here you have the option of providing the manual feedback as well at the below of the answer sheet. Yeah. And here you can just come and you can just manually grade the answer. Yes. So it supports both the models, the auto evaluation and the manual evaluation also. And in the auto evaluation, we also have co-pilot mode. In the coming slides, I'm going to show you how we can go in the co-pilot mode as well. Yes, so here are some more examples. Now we have just seen the handwritten examples. Here we have some more examples of code assessment where the students can see the code questions, and there is a compiler where they can write the answer of the code. Okay, as a teacher, even you can so again, this code evaluation is completely auto evaluated. You can manually also check the responses of the student, the input and output of the student. Correct? Yes. And here finally you can see the grades and a summative feedback as well. Now in code we have one addition basically. So there is no step-by-step analysis, but we have a inline code review where that inline code review will evaluate each line of code the way human does. Okay, and it will mark the syntax errors, any uh, uh, specific errors are there, it will find and it will highlight basically. So as a student, I am really understanding more like where I have gone wrong, where I have made the incorrect step, where syntax is missing. I have a complete overview on this, which is very difficult in the traditional coding assessment platform they have. Next, we move. Yeah. So again, the platform can be used for evaluating the short answers. So short answers, where the word range from around uh, 100 characters to 800, 900 characters. Okay, the word, sorry, not the characters. So the system can easily evaluate. Where again it provides the OCR and it starts the evaluation. It provides the grades. It provides the feedback. So for all the format, it has just accept the multiple choice. It can be used for auto evaluation. And this all feedback or remark that you are seeing here, it is completely AI generated. Yeah. Now we move to the next part where it is very important, where the platform has the ability to evaluate long answers as well. So as you can see on the screen, this particular example, it has the word count of 3,500. Okay. Now again, this was a very big challenge to evaluate evaluation of this number of words. To evaluate the answers of 100 to 500, 600 words is very easy task, but to evaluate the answers of 3,500 words is a very challenging. So here, it also supports long essay kind of questions, where again the rubrics will be applied. It provides a step-by-step analysis on this as well. This is again optional for essay kind of if you want to use, or you can skip. Again, it provides a feedback, a hint, and finally a summative feedback as well. The another kind of assessment that can be evaluated is the oral. Okay, so here the format is that the student need to read the question and they need to record their answers in the format of audio. Okay, so you can have the look at it. So this is the audio response of the student.
A linked list consists of two parts, which is information and the link. In a single connected listening, the beginning of the list is marked by a unique pointer.
So what exactly it does? It does audio to text transcript, and then the evaluation starts. After that, the format is same. It will provide the grades and it will provide the feedback. So you can see as a teacher for all kind of assessment or possible kind of assessment that you can have, the auto evaluation is available. And the format is same for everyone. So I'll just pause
The
it
four
here.
basic
Now, yeah, so this is again the important part where the platform can also be used in a co-pilot mode. So basically, co-pilot mode is like the evaluation is done by the Assessfy AI, and as a teacher, you can do the manual intervention where you see, okay, so this because as this AI, this can really create mistakes, and here you can just do a manual intervention where you can modify the grades, modify the remark provided by the AI. Correct? Yeah. So this way you can just simply edit and you can put your own remarks here. Yeah. And again, for each kind of questions, it has a model answer as well, which helps this AI to use it while doing the evaluation, and also for the students as well. to get a reference of whether how the answer was matching with the correct answer. We'll go to the next part here. We come to the third part of the presentation where we show you some reports basically. So first we start with the cognitive report basically on the individual level, where it tells about the students about their cognitive capabilities that was captured by the system. Now again, for this particular example, I'm using Bloom's taxonomy. Again, you can use your own set of course learning outcome. You can feed that into the system, and this report can be generated on that basis. So here it tells you that the student it is like on which cognitive capabilities they're going good. For knowledge and understanding, you can see the score is very good and good. But if you see for the rest of the levels, it is really poor and student needs to improve basically. So here it provides on individual level, and it also provides its reports on cohort level as well, or on the class level as well. Yeah, so this is again a very important report where it tells the teachers that whether the attainment of the course was achieved or not. So this is a course learning outcome attainment report, which is saying, and here I'm using an example of Python language, where you can see this report covers all the types of assessment that you have covered in your particular course. And on the left side, you can see the list of students. On the right top, you can see the type of assessment with the weightage that was used for those assessment, which tells you for each course learning outcome what was the performance. If I go to the next screen of this report, this is the final screen, where if you see on the right side, for each CLO or for which course learning outcome, it tells you whether the attainment was achieved or not. Whether the green color, it says the attainment was achieved, and the red color, it says it was not achieved. So this basically at the end, it tells after all the assessments are done, okay, it tells at what course learning outcome you need to have some more assessments, or you need to have some more learning lectures for that. And finally, after doing all the calculations, doing the average, it tells you for the complete cohort or for the complete class, whether the attainment was achieved or not. We go to the next report. This is a detailed report. Basically, it's a multi-dimensional competency report, which tells this is particular for each assessment, not for the complete all assessment that are covered. So, for example, this was a multiple choice question assessment. As you can see, how much topics were covered basically for this assessment. You can see that on the left side, it shows the students and how the students has attempted, or what grades that they have achieved for each topic. You can see it from this particular screen. And at the end, it is telling you the proficiency level of the students, whether they are emerging, whether they are the foundational level, good, bad. It will completely show you. And the continuation to this report, it tells, this is again cognitive report where it is on the cohort level, for each level, how the students are performing basically. And finally, some recommendations as well to the teachers, to the students after each assessment. Again, this is a completely dynamic. It takes the grades of the students that they have achieved, and on that basis, it will tell which books they need to read, or what additional they need to do to achieve the better scores. I think we are at the end now. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. And up to you, Adi. Over to you, Adi, now.
Great. Thank you, Pravesh. That was a wonderful walkthrough of what's possible when we blend pedagogy with technology. So thank you. For those of you who are interested in using this in your educational setting, if you haven't filled out the form yet in the chat, then please do. We'll be selecting a few educators and institutions very soon. And this is really a chance to be a part of a small group leading real change in education with AI. We were going to do a quick Q&A if we have time, but it's just about 4 o'clock here, and I know people have other plans their day, so we'll end it here. And I wanted to give a very special thank you to the esteemed panelists. Professor Indrani, thank you very much. Ms. Deepa, thank you, and Bhupesh, as well as my colleague Pravesh. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and thank you for spending your time with us today.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Indrani. Thank you, Deepaji. Thank you, all the
Thank you.
participants.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.